Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another riveting episode of Bold TV. Bold TV is sponsored by Bold Heart Network. This program comes to you every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. And we're here to talk about things that affect persons with disability and how we can make things better for persons with disability. Today, we have a very interesting topic for you. And today's topic is anger management and persons with disabilities. And today we have our lovely ladies. Ladies, could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, good morning. Good morning, audience. I'm Osaki Teresa George, polio survivor. I reside in Port Harcourt, Microsoft application trainer, a member of Bold Heart Initiative, work with Fair Care Foundation, and many other things. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Afyong Etim. I'm a medical lab scientist. I'm based in Rio. I use a wheelchair from spinal cord injury, and I'm also a member of Bold Hearts Initiative. It's good to be here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lucinda Ogunlade. I am living with albinism. I'm a counseling psychologist. I reside in Lagos. Thank you.
Thank you. So on with a very good question of a very riveting topic for the day. Today's topic is anger management. We all feel anger, but we all don't know what kind of anger we feel. So we want to talk about anger and how to manage our anger. I would like to throw the first question to Osaki. What do you know? What do you think anger is? What do you know? What do you think anger is?
Okay, thank you very much, Beyonce. Anger is unpleasant feeling, something you're not happy about. It could also be a trouble feeling. Something is bothering you. You're trying to see how you can manage yourself, and you want to pour it out, or you want to try to keep it inside of you. But at the same time, you're worried and you're not happy about yourself. At times it could show physically, or it could show the way you react. Thank you.
Thank you, Osaki, for that statement. So I would like to ask, how many types of anger do we all think there are? Do you think there are types of anger? If there are, could you please mention one? And so everybody will mention one or two types of anger that they know.
Types of anger, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that when you say types of anger. Because for me, anger it's an emotion. And no matter, I believe the different types of anger, like what I saw online, have to do with, are more or less like the triggers for anger, the underlying factors that trigger that emotional response, which is anger. So it could be frustration, it could be dissatisfaction, it could be offense when somebody offends you. It could be, it could be a self-defense. So anger can manifest in different forms. But for me, anger is a single emotion, but it manifests in different ways and, can be triggered by different circumstances or situations.
Okay, another type of anger I'll say about is pain. When you're in pain, automatic it just come up on you. Like she said, it could be triggered by so many things. Even with a disability, maybe you're having a pain all over your body, and you could just put on somebody. It just shows on you, either emotionally, and you start reflecting that anger of what she just said. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anger has other types.
Okay, up until today, I used to think that we have that anger is anger, and then we just express it in different forms. But as I checked through, as I browsed through, I saw three main types of anger, although several others, but three main types of anger. I saw the passive aggressive anger, I saw the assertive anger, and I saw the openly aggressive anger. And there's also one very interesting type of anger, the righteous anger. But all these types of anger are just, generally anger is an emotion that you express when you feel that you are deliberately taken advantage of, like somebody said, when you are offended. It's just the way it's been expressed. Like the first one I talked about, the passive aggressive anger. You are angry, you just try to suppress it, you try to repress it, you try to, keep it, take it in, and then when something happens, you just burst it out, and and it becomes something you cannot control. While the assertive anger, you are angry, but you have learned, you have understood how to manage that emotion. You speak calmly, you interact with the person that has offended you calmly. And the other last main type of anger, the aggressive anger, that one, you begin to throw things on people, you begin to hurt people, you shout, you scream. The last one, the fourth one, I said, very interesting, the righteous anger. You are angry at a just cause. You're angry, you want to change things. You're angry, you want to help people. You're angry, you want to do something correctly. That's basically what I feel are the types of anger. Thank you.
I believe that as advocates, I think it's the righteous anger we all use to try and correct things in Nigeria and all over the world. Thank you very much, Lucinda, for that wonderful, wonderful reply. So I would like to ask everybody that now we've asked and we have decided that these are the types of anger that we have. So I'd like to ask, what are the tips that we can use to control our anger, to keep our anger before it destroys things? Because we all know that anger is a destructive element at times. Majority of the time, it's just rare that it's not a destructive element, that anger is a destructive element. How do we manage our anger?
Now, basically, we must understand that anger is not a bad emotion in itself. It's just when it's not managed properly that it becomes a bad emotion, when it's not controlled. Now, basic tips on anger management. The first thing, we need to identify the triggers. We need to know what triggers it and try to avoid what triggers anger. When you understand that if I talk to this person will get me offended, will get me angry, you run away from that kind of person, or any environment, any situation that gets you angry. If you're not driving on Lagos road, will always get you angry. Why not get a driver, or you don't even go close to the wheels? Because Lagos will always, Lagos drivers, and I understand that kind of scenario. Another thing is, when you are angry, you need to apply the use of meditation. It's difficult, but when we understand that there are so many consequences that anger brings on us, if not controlled. If I know that if I speak this kind of, okay, I had a story. Someone was telling me something this afternoon. Can I share?
Please go ahead.
Okay,
I think
yes. Okay, thank you. He told me a story. He said a boy complains to his father that he always gets angry and he doesn't know how to control his temper. He was so, he really wanted to learn how to control his temper. So he told his father. The father now told him that, okay, whenever you are angry, okay, go and get nails. Whenever you are angry, throw the nails against the wall. Just pick one and throw it against the wall. Anytime anybody offends you, just go to the wall, throw the nail at it. And the boy did that every time anybody offends him. Anytime he gets angry, he goes to the wall, he throws one nail against the wall. And then when he exhausted the nails, he went to his father. I said, Father, I've exhausted the nails. What do you think I should do when somebody else gets me angry? The father said, okay, when anybody gets you angry again, go back to the walls and begin to take out the nails you stuck into the walls. So when he exhausted doing that, when he was done doing that, he came back to his father. He said, Father, I'm done. I've taken out all the nails I trusted into the wall while I was angry. And father asked him that, what did you learn from that experience? He said he has learned not to, overspeak or shout at people or react negatively or hit somebody. The father said, no, aside that, there's another lesson. Look at the walls. The walls have holes. That's what happens when you speak to people angrily. When you react in an angry manner, you can't take away the wound in the walls of their hearts. So my point is, if we realize that when we get angry and we say things or we do things, we cannot erase the effect of what we have done. So we will learn how to keep quiet. So I mentioned meditation as a second anger management tip. Meditate. Just think about it. When I do this, breathe in, breathe out. When I say this, how will this person take it? Will I be able to defend what I've said when I'm no longer angry? And the third thing I will say before I stop speaking is you can just take a walk out, do exercise. And before you know it, you are calm, you are better, you are cool. Thank you.
Wow, that was a good point and that was a good point. Thank you very much. So I'd like to ask, while we preach anger management, we can't also overemphasize when a person is displeased. How then do one express displeasure without a hint of anger?
Okay, thank you. Now we cannot overrule the place of anger. We would always get, at some point, we'll get offended, we'll get displeased. Now, how do we manage it? Like the third type of anger I talked about, the assertive kind of anger. Oh, no, the second type, the second type of anger, the assertive anger. You are angry, yet you have learned to control your words. You have learned to walk out of the sin. You have learned to say the right words. It's a skill that can be learned. It's a skill that can be learned. So we will get angry, fine. We will get angry. And funnily, we are not responsible for what people say to us or people do to us, but we are responsible for what or how we respond to what they say. So once we realize that anything I say while I'm angry, I'm highly responsible for it, I think we would take caution. So we must learn to be assertive. It's a skill, we must learn it. And I express my anger such that I don't hurt the other person. I don't make the other person feel bad. I don't make the other person feel, less of a human being. So we can learn this assertive skill such that we express our displeasure and we don't lose our temper, we don't lose our peace. I've seen people that are really mastered this art. I'm still on the way. I'm not there yet, I must confess. But I know somebody that when he's angry, he knows how to really express his anger such that it doesn't hurt you. And he makes you understand that what you did, I don't like it. Has learned that skill. So I believe every other person can also learn it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is personal experience sharing time. So I would like each of us to share an experience of when we are angry and what we did to actually calm ourselves down in that situation, whether we lost it or whether we calmed ourselves down and walked away from it, or whether we just destroyed everything and just walked away and then damned everything to hell. So I would like us all, including myself, I have a lot of stories to tell, to share a story of when we were angry and the tips we use.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I have few tips I did, not all the time anyway, but most of the times when I'm angry, and I try to see how I don't affect you, but I want you to know that what you did, I didn't like it. I talk to you calmly, because if I talk fastly, it will generate more of the anger. So I slower, the way I'm slow now, I slow the speed of how I talk so that you get to know what I'm saying. And I try not to emphasize on the action. Let's say now you tell me, get out. And maybe you just want me to go out of the way. But you said, get out. So I'll try not to look at the get out on the tone, but I'll look at it on, okay, maybe she wants me to move out of the way, make it lighter so that I don't overreact, or I'll just say, okay, use a calmer tone. And also at times, so you cope well with the person. You make excuse for the person at times, especially when you try to tell them that you're fond of this habit, see that I don't like the tone, and the person is still on use that kind of tone. So you can't really change them. It's an attitude thing. So that you can still cope with them, or so that you can still be their friend or help them when it's necessary. You see them, you make excuse for that negative attributes of what they do that provoke you most times. Because if you follow it the way it is, you might end up disconnecting them from your life. And at times, disconnecting people quick is not the best way to solve a problem, So all I just try to do, I make an excuse for you and say, okay, that's your attitude. And I don't deliberate on it. I don't dwell on it. I try to move on past. But anytime you make something that I realize really, really wrong, I come back and I tell you, this part, it's wrong. Let's see how we can amend it. And I move on. But I don't take your words too serious. The words, no. I let it go. So that, and at times too, when I'm that angry, I keep quiet. Let the time pass. Maybe later on, I might just hint it a little bit to let you know. Thank you.
Me, when I get angry, this is me for you. I don't talk to anybody when I'm angry. I keep very quiet. I can be quiet for 5 days with that person and just calm my spirit down. It's not because I'm angry for 5 days, but because I want to evaluate the situation at hand. And I want to see how far I want to go with that situation. I want to see whether it's a situation where I want to actually have a discussion about, or is a situation where I want the water of life to just flow it by and just take it away. And then I'll come back to you the way I want to come back to you, whether stronger, whether weaker, whether anyhow. I do this with my siblings and my cousins and the ones I love the most. I do this because I know that relationships are fragile and things can be destroyed in under 10 seconds. So I try not to rock the boat. And I am one human being that knows how to rock the boat. Anyone who knows me truly will tell you Beyonce knows how to rock the boat. But I try very hard not to rock the boat. So I don't talk about it. And when I'm ready to talk about it, I'll just tell you point blank, you did this to me. And I felt this and this. And this is it. And I'm not angry about it. I just wanted you to know that this is what you did to me. And that is how I have managed to stay at a good conscience with myself and with God, because it's important that way.
When it comes to anger management, what everybody has said, as far what I know is that, like Bill said, your method could also be a form of passive aggressive anger. Because when you don't address certain things, there are some situations, you have to evaluate each situation, as it comes. There's no blankets, solution. There's no one size fits all for situations when it comes to conflict. I think the best thing would be you evaluate how you feel on a situation by situation basis, and then check, are there any precedents? Has it happened before? Is it a recurrent, situation? If it's something that has happened before and maybe you can see there's a trend, I don't think it's something you can sweep under the carpet or, like you said, let the water wash it away. You need to address that situation, address the person involved. And if there is a need to distance yourself from that person, after you have addressed it, I think that to protect your mental health, you realize that this person, until they learn how to interact with you in a civil and a cordial manner, it will be best for you to keep some distance. There's some people you cannot afford to, keep ignoring. You may need to draw the line at some point and let them know that, look, you've crossed, this is the line. If you hadn't set those boundaries before, you let them, this is the line. You've crossed it over and over. And I think it's best if the two of us maintain some distance. You're not angry. You don't have to shout about it, but you specifically explain to the person, let the person know this is where you stand. You're protecting yourself. I've had instances, me before now, like some years ago, everybody knows me from work, from different places. In fact, in my place of work, they often say the interns in training should go through class, work under me first, because, I'm this kind of person that I can be very strict. I have certain standards, and at some point I had difficulty, I had problems managing my emotions. So when I'm angry, you will know. Sometimes I would overreact, I would, get all out there. And, for one thing with anger, you should know is that people react to situations based on how they've been shown to react. You cannot, remove the impact of childhood experiences. Some of us are the way we are because of how we've seen our parents handle certain situations. Our parents will tell you, I grew up with a mother who, my mom will yell, throw things. She could even throw you. That's how it was. My mom could be very aggressive when she's angry. And I grew up thinking that was the way to get somebody to listen to you, to hear what you have to say. So if I felt ignored, if I felt like I'm trying to get you to do something and you're not doing it, I felt the best way was to shout. I would shout, I would yell, and even become physical. So over time, I had to learn to understand that was not always the best way to handle situations. I had to learn to, understand the triggers. If I find myself getting upset about something, I have to stop. Like Lucinda said, that, psychologists will tell you count to 10. Count to whatever number you think will get you to calm down. So you stop. Just stop in that moment. Take a deep breath, because there's something about exhaling. It's like, it just flushes out that tension, that pressure at that moment. You take a deep breath and then ask yourself, why am I angry? Do I need to be angry in this situation? Is it necessary? Because sometimes we are angry because we're taking responsibility for someone else's actions. Someone does something wrong, and I feel that maybe that person wouldn't have treated me this way if it were not for this. So there are a lot of underlying factors that can trigger anger. Sometimes you feel ignored, and maybe it stems from past experiences where maybe you have felt unseen, you have felt invisible, nobody's seeing you, nobody's listening to you. So you must, first of all, what I do personally now is that if I find myself in a situation where I'm upset about something, I can feel that pressure build up, and I know that if I don't handle this properly, I'm going to do or say something I regret. So more often than not, I just calm down. I tell myself, I have to remind myself, depending on the situation, I remind myself, okay, do I have a right to be angry in this situation? Why am I really angry? What's going on? Is it about me, or is it the other person? So I have to think about, sit down. By the time you give it time, you are able to calmly address the situation with that person. I'm able to come to that person and say, oh, this is how it is. Don't do this, don't do that. This is what I don't want. I would appreciate it if you don't do this next time, because this is how it makes me feel. If you are aware, self-awareness is key to managing anger. When you are self-aware, you know yourself, you know what triggers you, you know the kind of situations. Like me, I know I don't do so well under pressure. So when I find myself in a situation where there's pressure, if I have to shut down, I shut down temporarily, and I just no matter who is, pounding me or running, I tell them, look, at this moment, I'm not available. So give me time. I will attend to this at the right time. So no matter what the pressure is, I tell myself, if it's something I cannot change, I tell myself, there's nothing you can do about this now. It has happened. So I've learned to shrug in certain situations, like when you talk about anger based out of frustration. There are certain things that will happen, things are not falling in line, things are not working out the way you planned, and then you get so upset, and that's the whole day just, snowballs out of control from there. But I tell myself, could you have done anything to change the situation? Will getting angry solve the problem? Will it change it? No. So rest your case. You cannot come and kill yourself. Just relax, take it easy. Like Lucinda said, Lagos, that's one city I cannot live in. You will go crazy. Your mental health is at stake every day. But even in that situation, there are people who have learned how to cope. Even in that situation, you're in traffic, you're stuck in traffic for 3, 4, 5 hours. Somehow you knew it would happen. So what's the point getting mad or attacking everybody? Relax. If you can afford to put on music, put on. If you can afford to put on AC, put it on. Just chill there. If you have, maybe if possible, while leaving your house, carry a book or something that you know that in case this happens, you know how to, occupy yourself, and then whenever the traffic moves, you now move. But getting upset does not help you in that situation. Your stress levels will just go up, and you get home upset, and then next thing you transfer the aggression to your family and loved ones, and they're like, every time mommy comes back home, just everybody hide. She's a danger to the society. Just hide. And that does not foster good relationships. So learning how to manage your anger and any other negative emotions starts with self-awareness. Know yourself. If you know that when hunger comes, you are not good to be around, just make sure that if you know, once you start feeling the hunger showing up, find food and eat, whatever it is. And once you've eaten, then you become a human being. Don't transform. And people can come near you. So know yourself well enough to know the triggers, things that can trigger you, and avoid them, or find a solution before it gets too far. For me, that's what has worked for me. So I hope it helps someone else.
Yes, I hope it helps someone, because that was quite interesting. Thank you, Afyong, for that very, very interesting and common sense, logical way of handling anger. I give you kudos on that.
All right. Okay, the last speaker really got me laughing. Like, I really learned so much from her. Thank you so much, Ma. That was really, really, really mind-blowing. And then as she was speaking, I was just seeing myself in the things she was saying. I can be very, very, very aggressive when I'm angry. And, before I began to understand myself, she talked about self-awareness. At some points while growing up, I did not know why I was always aggressive. I was always angry. I didn't know I was not happy because I looked differently from other people. I didn't know until I began to discover and understood myself. So I was really in class. I was always, you just say small thing, I'm already angry, I'm already talking back at you. And that was a defense mechanism for me. I was always giving people names in class, then while in secondary school. But as I grew and I began to understand my personality and then my temperament trait, it helped me. I'm still in the process. Now, getting married again is another ball game entirely, because I married somebody with different temperament. And like last week I talked about, background where we grew up, where I came from. It's okay to shout. It's okay to throw things around when you're offended. But when my husband came from, who will you shout at now? He came from a very typical Yoruba setting where even if you say, mommy, you are shouting, it's an insult. But where I came from, I can say that to my parents, and that's fine. I can slam the door, and that's okay. But when I got married and my husband offends me and I want to I raise my voice, and like, yeah, he will just withdraw. I'm like, so I really had to begin to learn. And I saw that whenever he's offended, whenever he's angry at me, he just keeps quiet and he talks to me after that situation, after that time, talks to me calmly. So I started to learn how to do it, and then you asked practical ways, what has happened, how I've been able to manage anger. Sometimes I mess up, sometimes I handle it properly. So as people living with disability, you need to come to terms, you need to understand yourself. You can't change the situation. I can't change the fact that I'm an albino, like I have a rolling eyeball, my hair is, I can be sunburnt when I enter the sun. I can't change this thing. So why kill myself over it? Like last speaker said, I can't change. I just have to live with it and be happy with myself. And one thing that we should not allow, don't allow people talk you down. Be assertive. I don't like this thing. Don't call me this name. I'm not this. This is my name. This is who I am. So I think when we learn these things, when we know our temperaments, we know those triggers, like I talked about, how to manage anger. We identify the triggers, know what triggers it, and try as much as you can to avoid those triggers. You're not superhuman. Sometimes you feel that, I won't get angry. You may get angry. Don't be overconfident. Don't be too confident. You could get angry. You may get angry. So avoid triggers. Communicate, express, tell people, communicate your feeling. Let people know how you feel about situations. Like for me, like you said, I'm not good under pressure. I am no-go area, like I'm no-go area. So I try as much as I can to, to plan my day, to plan activities. Any of those things I cannot control, I let it go. So as people living with disabilities, we need to understand that the world would throw at us several things. And then, like they say, if they throw at you lemon, you can make lemonade out of it. You can make something good out of it, make a juice out of it. So we have to be deliberate. That's the word, deliberate. You have to be deliberate. So anger cannot solve things unless it's the righteous anger, unless it's the negative anger expression has only spoiled things, spoiled marriages, spoiled relationship, spoiled association, brought down businesses, pulled down what you built over the years. So there's no point we get angry. I think and people, we are more attractive when we are peaceful. Anytime I am calm, my mom was like, you look more beautiful when you are not angry. And that thing, he keeps saying that thing. So I want to always look beautiful for him. So I try as much as I cannot always get angry. I will look beautiful. And that's the same way for all of us, even those that are not married. You look beautiful, you look more attractive. People can approach you, they can come to you, you can even be of help to people. So I don't see any reason why I want to be angry, want to be agitated, want to be always screaming, always shouting. Where I came from, they do that, but I'm relearning, I'm unlearning, and I'm learning anew now in marriage. And even for my profession, I know that I really have to put my emotion in check to be able to help others. I have to be in a state of congruence to be able to help somebody. I cannot be, not and say I want to help somebody. I have to be fine myself. So that's it for me. Thank you, Ma.
When you talked about Lucinda, you talked about right, you mentioned righteous anger, and I'm like, righteous anger should move you to find constructive ways to change the situation. But if your anger always ends in violent outbursts, then no matter how righteous it is, no matter how right it is, no matter how justified you may think it is, there's still a problem because you end up doing more harm than good. So righteous anger should push you to take constructive action. You see somebody, who is being treated unfairly, rather than go and join the person in a shouting match or, go and fight on behalf of the person. I think the best thing would be to find out, is there any way I can help this person get what they need without, losing control? Because managing anger is about gaining control, not giving your power away to someone else or to that situation. Anger, when you get angry and shout, you have allowed someone into your space, negative energy into your space that has no business being there. So before you react, ask yourself, why should I give this person permission to get into my space? You protect that personal space, protect it with all your heart, do whatever it takes. Sometimes it may take walking away. It may feel like, you have a right to say something. If saying something will only aggravate or escalate the situation and cause you more pain, walk away. Just get some fresh air. And when the dust has settled, you can now go and talk to whoever you need to talk to. And then another thing is that let's look at the physical implications of anger. We all think it's just shouting, but people have ended up with hypertension. People have ended up with all manner of problems, metabolic problems, that people who have physical symptoms from always being angry, from chronic anger. And these physical symptoms, sometimes they go to the hospital and they can't really pinpoint what is wrong with them, because anger, has to do with disruption of your mind. And they say where the mind goes, the man follows. So when your mind, they say mind over matter, your mind controls everything else that happens around you. You feel happy, you're excited, your whole body is as if I can do anything. And your body responds by releasing chemicals that, make you feel empowered. And you're like, I can do this, So your mind controls. And then even when you feel sad and gloomy and depressed, no matter how capable you are, your mind communicates to your body that you are useless at that point in time. You can do nothing. And so no matter what anybody tells you, because your mind is sending the wrong messages to your body complies by shutting down. So the physical effects of anger alone should be enough to make you stop and rethink before you react. Ask yourself, do I want to give myself diseases or conditions that I have no business having? People have developed hypertension, people have developed metabolic problems, there's people that have digestive issues, ulcers. Also, because you get angry, your body reacts because it feels like you're in a fight. And so it releases chemicals that are not necessary in that moment. Meanwhile, you're not trying to run away from danger.
Once she comes back, she will finish her wonderful lesson.
Okay, my last word, thank you, Bios. Last word I'm gonna say is, for me, anger caused me pain. So I try to avoid pain as much as I can and look for a way to walk past it after correcting the person. And there's something I read somewhere. I think one of the healing therapy for persons that have cancer, I think they tell them to do anything you think that makes you happy. Once something is going to provoke you, avoid it at all costs. So what I'm going to say is avoid anger. Yes, it's fine to be angry, but don't allow it linger for more than a day. Even though you cannot talk to the person, make sure you free yourself. Free yourself because you have to free yourself so that you can move on. Because once you're not free, once your mind is troubled, there's nothing you can do. It's gonna break you down. So for you to move to the next step or to the next activity you want to do, try as much as you can to ease off that anger toxic, like what Afion said. Thank you.
My last words, we cannot control how people relate with us. We cannot control the things they say to us, but we can control how we respond to these things. People living with disabilities, sometimes people tag us, they want to talk to us anyhow, look down on us, discriminate between us, against us rather. But we need to get a hold of ourselves. If we really want to live longer, we need to master our emotions. We cannot always give the wheels of our emotion to others to ride for us. Because once we give it out, once people know these are the things that we say, and I will ruin her day, or I will ruin her week, or I will ruin her month, they keep at it. No human beings are like that. So we need to shield ourselves from these things and learn how to manage our emotions, especially when it comes to anger. We need to learn how to manage anger because, of course, we will get angry. Of course, people, even the Holy Book says that offense will always come in our relationship, in our workplaces, even on the road. People will just make nasty comments. I go about and people just open their mouth and say things about me. And sometimes I want to stop and just say something. And Charlie, in Lagos, they feel that because I'm white, that I may not understand the common language here. So they just use those language, sometimes use the language to speak against me. And I hear, and several times I want to just say, let me respond back. They will know that I heard what they said, but is it worth it? Is it really worth it? Like when I was doing the study, I saw that anger could lead to depression, anxiety, ulcer, even digestive issues, diabetes. I was surprised. Anger could lead to diabetes. You can imagine that. Self issues. It could lead to substance abuse. People have gotten angry so that they resulted into smoking, into illegal use of drugs. So we need to really be deliberate about our emotions when it comes to anger. Be very careful. Don't give people the wheels. Don't give them the license to ruin your day, to ruin your emotion, to just get on you and mess you up. They know the right words to use just to make you lose it. So I think we need to be deliberate. And once you miss it today, don't relax. Don't feel, don't give up. I didn't get it. I was trying to manage it. I had an outburst. You just continue. And before you know it, you are a master. Once you keep at it, in no time, you are a master. And you can begin to help people as well walk through the issue of anger. Thank you.
So my last word, and everything to be ending, like Osaki said, find something that makes you happy and do it. And like Miss Lucinda Ogunlade said, don't go near things that make you angry. I'm going to combine these two things and say, always, forever, find something that keeps you glad and happy in God. And that way you can do things that make you happy. And because the way God created us, negativity is not meant to be in us. We're supposed to be vessels of good, positive vibes and good deeds. So let us all, as persons with disability and persons without disabilities, young women and girls with or without disabilities, let us continue to thrive for the positivity in ourselves so that we can do great things in this world. On that note, I'd like to say thank you all for coming for this wonderful topic. I have really enjoyed myself and I have really, really learned one or two things. And I would like to say that Bold TV is sponsored by Bold Heart Network. And if you would like to sponsor us or join us one of these wonderful Saturdays on this wonderful topic, you can either contact me, Abiose, Osaki, Freki, Afyong, or Tomisin. On saying this, I would like us ladies to please unmute ourselves and say our bye-byes. And
Thank you for having me.